Welcome to Rags to Riches Secrets. Today we're going to talk about a topic that is probably one of the most important topics that we could possibly discuss to help you create the good life. Okay? Here's what it is. I call this buy versus DIY. Okay? Buy versus DIY, growing your Amazon store, sells from $19 a day to $19,178 a day. Now, I'll show you why I want to share this with you, okay? One time I was talking to Tony Robbins, and I was explaining my business, my model, the things that I was working on. He said to me, Mike, he goes, you need more who's. And I'm like, what? He goes, you need like 10 people. You need 12 people working on that problem. You've got to figure out how to close the gap. And he goes, you need more people solving that problem. And it was a very interesting thought that he had taken and he had put to me. And I was like, because I remember one time it was Donald Trump. I can't remember, it wasn't on The Apprentice, but Donald Trump was there. And there was this guy in the background. He was kind of fidgeting and texting and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And he was going a little bit crazy. And Donald Trump came up to him and got in his face. He's like, you need more people. And the guy's like, what do you mean? He goes, you need more people. And the guy's like, huh? He goes, you need more people because you're doing too many things that you shouldn't be paying attention to. And as a result, it's costing you money because you're wasting time on stuff that doesn't matter. And so here's what I'm talking about. The big question that people always ask is this. Whenever they want a business, they want to pursue something, they always say, hey, how do I do this? How do I get this thing done? How do I? When you start asking the question how, what happens is because you have a knowledge gap. You end up trying to discover, you slide off into the ditch of procrastination. And because you're procrastinating, you actually delay obtaining success. And as a result, you do not have the lifestyle that you want. And so then it comes over to the next question. Instead of saying how do I this, how do I that, okay? You need to say who. Close the gap, who. Think about it. Elon Musk, so he created the car company, he created all these really, really cool businesses, right? Car, putting people in outer space, like the spaceships and all that stuff. Here's what he did. He went and he pulled out his Rolodex and he started discovering. He's like, who knows everything about rockets? Who knows everything about all of these different electric cars? Who? And as soon as he found the who's, he somehow figured out how to corral those guys and put them on his team. And all of a sudden he built Tesla. And all of a sudden he built SpaceX. All of a sudden he's got Starlink. All of a sudden he's got, he's talking about technology, putting chips in heads to be able to figure out how to fix or to help the brain heal, okay? He always went out and he started asking the question, who? Think about Warren Buffett, for example, okay? Warren Buffett, he owns a railroad. But do you think Warren Buffett's ever going to go work on the railroad? Nope. What does he do? If you ask the question, you'll say Warren Buffett is highly efficient at allocating resources to the most profitable whatever so they can make a killing, right? If you boiled it all down, he goes, who can make me the most money? That's what he's doing. He's betting on the who's. And so he says, okay, who's got the best railroad that I should own? He goes, okay, I'll buy that. Who's got this? Okay, I'll buy that. And then he buys the who's so that he can get the end results. That's what he does over and over and over. In fact, if you go look at his portfolio, pretty much almost every single company inside that portfolio, he always identified the who he wants on the team, and then he acquires the company to come join it. But he loves founders because it always comes down to the who. So here's what happens. When you start asking the question, how do I do this instead of who does this thing, there's an opportunity cost. These opportunity costs can be very expensive. Think about it. Do you have every single skill that you need to have the good life? Do you know how to build a car? No. So you go find a who can build it and then you buy it, right? Do you know how to build a house? Maybe, maybe not. But you go find a who that knows how to build a house, okay? If you want to get to Hawaii, do you go jump in the ocean with a little paddle and start wiggling across the pond? No, you probably get an airline ticket. You go find the who that can get you from A to B. Because if you did it the other way, paddling your way from the United States, the mainland, to Hawaii, it would be a horrible experience. You would not enjoy Hawaii at all. Okay? And so think about it. Just like as you hear my voice, pause and say, what am I doing that is literally holding me back because I'm trying to figure out how to do this stuff by myself? It is an enormous mistake. So when I talk about these Amazon stores, for example, this is an enormous mistake that people can make. Okay? Like you say that you want the good life. Okay? Here's what the good life looks like. All right, so you've got an Amazon store that's generating $1 million a year in sales, okay? $1 million a year in sales. The store is spitting out in profits to you, say $200,000 in profits. And you're like, that's delicious, okay? But now look, what would it take in order for you to generate $1 million in sales? You're probably going to be sending out a couple thousand packages a day. Now you've got to start asking yourself, like, do you want, like maybe not a couple thousand a day. No, we're going to scale it up. I want you to see scale, okay? You got an Amazon store generating $10 million of sales a year, and you're walking away with $2 million in profit. Okay, that's a better analogy, okay? $2 million. Now you've got to be able to pump out a couple thousand packages a day. Do you want to personally be kitting up, packaging, and shifting and shuffling packages out a day? Like, you probably don't. Like, do you want to sit there with your camera taking pictures of every single product and then writing up a description on every single product so that you can put it inside the Amazon store? No, you probably don't. Because, like, the shipping is probably like 5, 10, 15 people, right? That's a team. And the people that are writing the copy on your ads for Facebook so that you can sell it, that's a team. Okay? And then as you start thinking about, okay, so who's going to go figure out all my products, figure out how to buy it, negotiate, source it, do all this stuff? That's a team. Like, nobody gets the good life without discovering the who. Like, and I go on and I talk about this because literally it is one of the biggest mistakes that people make. Where you're making it right now. I know that you're making it right now. If you pause, you're making it right now in some area of your life. If you think about it, there's one decision that, okay, the most important decision you can do is figure out the right person to marry and marry them, okay? The next one is you've got to figure out how to use your time the best and the most efficient way so that you can create the good life. Like, if you want 3 jobs, see, you're asking the wrong questions. The right question is how can I free up my time to obtain exactly what I want? And it will always come back to this thing. Finding the who. Close the gaps. Finding the who. Finding the who. Finding the who. I've got a friend where him and his wife, they've got an Amazon store. They figure out their own products. They come up with what the market wants. They write it all up. They ship all their own stuff every day. They make $30,000 a year, so they got $15,000 between his wife and his mother-in-law. Okay, they make 15 apiece. That's $30,000. And I'm like, you have a full-time job. How are you going to be in Hawaii? Like, if you go to Hawaii for 2 weeks, you got to turn your store off. Because if you keep your sales on and you go to Hawaii, then Amazon will shut you down because you can't fulfill. See what I'm talking about? If the word good life, if you use the word whatsoever good life, it has 100% to do with finding the who's. Because when you don't find the who, there is a massive opportunity cost on the backside. And so, like, one of the things that, like, when somebody comes in and they want to work with me, they're like, hey, Mike, I want an Amazon store, okay? I want to scale it up. I want to go from $19 a day, so I'm barely surviving. I want you to start generating for me $19,178 a day in sales. What it is I'm going to say, okay, to do that, you need a team of about 30 people. But no problem. I've already got the team of 30 people here. I figured that if somebody wanted a store that could scale to that, you're going to spend about $750,000 a year on getting all of your operations done, getting all your marketing done, figuring out the software you can use. Like, one software we use is $120,000 a year for the software alone, so that when we analyze and figure out products we put in the store, that we are not putting products in the store that are duds. If we put product in the store, we expect it to sell. Why? Because we're doing our homework and research and figuring out exactly what the market will buy, so that we don't waste our time and our money. So, but if you went and got all those things into place, you would probably be $750,000 a year to scale so that you could have that. But here's the secret. I have 250 clients on this side of the equations where we're already covering the cost. So you don't have to pay all that. You only worry about an incremental piece that you contribute to the pie. So here's the deal. When somebody comes in, they work with me. They get a store. Look, if I don't make you money, like I get zero, it's a rev share. The way we make money is a rev share. So if the store owner makes no money, we make no money. Like the last time I checked, no money did not allow anybody to survive. Like I have a massive incentive to figure out how to scale, build out, and cause revenue to flow. Because at that point, it's when I start experiencing and I get to participate, right? Therefore, I is majorly, highly in my own interest to make a very, very profitable store for a customer. But like even me, it all comes back to there is no way I can personally do it. I have to have who's everywhere. Who. Close the gap. Close the gap. Like when I say good life, like you already know I go to Hawaii. I take my wife there 2 times a year. She's trying to talk me into 3. She probably is going to succeed at that, okay? But when we do that, like we want to be in Hawaii having a good time. So I've got to have boots on the ground. I have to have who's in place that execute and cause things to get done so that the good life can be obtained. That, my friends, is like probably one of the biggest secrets I can give you. Who. You can go to alphawealthsecrets.com, find your who. Like if you're looking for an Amazon who or an Amazon store who that's a do-it-for-you store, like you're going to spend on average 1 hour a month on your store, okay? Not a lot of time. But you got the right who in place. Therefore, you can leverage what we do very, very well so that you can create the good life. So you can go to alphawealthsecrets.com, and that, my friend,